Commission meeting of Kingston, New Hampshire. Today is March 6, 2024. I am Susan Prescott, the chair.
Virginia Morris, vice chair.
Did you turn your thing on? You didn't turn your thing on?
No, I didn't turn it on. All right, we're going to
try it again.
Virginia Morris, vice chair.
Dan Doyle, member.
Madeline Willett, member.
Glenn Koppelman, Select Board Representative.
What am I, a visitor?
No.
And we have Susan DeHart, who is our newest member, and she has been...
The Select Board appointed her to a 3-year alternate position last night, so she still needs to get her paperwork done downstairs, yep. But she was appointed, and it's as an alternate because all of the regular spots are filled. If at some point a regular member drops off, Susan can, if she wishes, can request to move up to a regular member from alternate if she chooses.
Perfect. Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome.
So I will remember to turn this on. So alternates are invited to participate, just not vote when we have a full board. Is that correct?
That's correct, and particularly tonight, I mean, you don't have a full board, and because Ms. DeHart hasn't been sworn in yet, she can't vote even tonight, so...
Right.
But she can certainly participate in the discussion.
Okay, very good.
Actually, we don't have anything to vote on tonight anyway, so I don't think, unless we vote on the letter, so... Oh, the minutes, that's right, okay. So let's continue. We have Rob Tersolo, who is absent tonight. He's a planning board rep, and Stanley Gillette is also absent. We're going to go on to critical correspondence, of which I have none. So why don't we review the minutes from the February 13th meeting?
Sarah's not here.
Sarah is not here as well. Our recording secretary is at a UNH banquet tonight. She is going to be taking minutes from the YouTube video recording. Okay. Yeah. So I sent out the minutes via email. And are there any changes or corrections?
Yes.
No, go ahead. You probably caught the same thing I did.
Go ahead.
Okay, so make sure you're because Sarah's going to need to hear the corrections, so be specific, please.
So this is on page 3, under public comment. It's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 6th paragraph down. It says Scott Willett, W-I-L-L-E-T. It's actually Willett, O-U-E-L-L-E-T-T-E.
Okay.
A small thing, but...
It's, yeah.
That's also on page 2, the same spelling error.
Oh.
Yes, it's in twice.
Okay.
And also, my name is spelled incorrectly in the first paragraph on page 1, but my name is in there 3 times. You probably got sick of writing it, but my first name is spelled wrong in the second to last sentence. And under public hearing on page 2, it says Susan Hearing called the public hearing to order, and it should read Susan Prescott called the public hearing to order.
Yep.
And the last thing I would ask is that we include a copy of the email of all the changes to attach to this, because there were so many changes, just so that it's clear what the changes were.
Okay.
Don't we usually do that when there's a lot of detail?
I don't think that we have in the minutes.
Just how do you keep track of that on?
Of all the changes that we discussed?
Yeah, because it's very broad, and I would not have expected her to write all of that up. But because we have like a short synopsis of that in the attachment on the email that we sent out that day.
Okay.
I think for the meeting, just like changes 1 And you can just forward that to her,
Okay.
attach.
I can do it. I'll see if she will.
It's the 5 pages. Actually,
Does
it's
that need
6.
to be in the minutes, though? I mean, the minutes doesn't have to have that much detail.
No, because of that.
I don't
No,
believe
it
so.
doesn't? Well, if
No.
it doesn't, then,
No,
then
it
it's fine.
doesn't.
Okay.
Because those will be voted on?
Correct.
They were.
Oh, the ordinance.
The regulations,
Talking the
the
regulations.
regulations that we've already
You're talking
voted
about
on.
regulations?
Yes.
So they were voted on?
Yes.
Then they will be changed online
Yeah.
in the official record
Okay.
books, so if anyone wants to see them,
Okay.
they're there.
Okay, and we do have documentation to go back on, it's just, I didn't know officially if it needed to be on there.
No, no. I don't think
That
it
was my
does.
only changes.
All right, thank you. We are welcoming Stanley. Hi. Stanley Schlett has entered the building. So we're just reviewing the minutes right now, okay? You didn't miss anything. No, just the minutes right now from the last meeting. Yep.
Didn't miss anything.
Nope, you really didn't.
So I have one more correction.
Okay.
On the second page, it says Heritage Commission. The Heritage Commission sent out a letter to each member of the historic district. Actually, the Heritage Commission sent out a letter to each member with a historic property,
Yes,
including the historic districts.
yes, correct.
So it was a much broader letter than just HD1 and HD2.
Okay,
Right, it was actually to anyone who had a historic home that was included in the 1983 inventory, and that was close to 300 at that time. And as you said, Virginia, it certainly included those in the historic district,
Yes.
but it was also any other home in town that was greater, at that time, that was greater than 50 years, I think.
50 years, yes. All right. Any other corrections or comments on the minutes? No?
Make a motion to approve as amended.
Second?
Motion was made by Glenn, seconded by Madeline. No more further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Nobody? All right, great, thank you. Okay, town board update. Planning board? Do you have anything? No, I'm sorry. Bad habit, isn't it? I know, it's so bad. Select board, please. Do you have anything?
Gosh. Well, first of all, I'm sure most of you know that the town elections are next week, next Tuesday. There are 3 select board positions currently up for grabs and 6 people running for them. So depending on how that all goes, the landscape of the select board could be very different. So good news is that the weather on Tuesday is predicted to be beautiful, so unlike previous years when, like last year when I was standing out in the snowstorm with my sign, it was pretty miserable, but this year is going to be nice. So it should be a good turnout, and the ballot is very long, so if you have a chance to review it first before you go into the booth, it's helpful because the planning board is proposing a significant number of changes to the zoning ordinance. Plus, there are a lot of warrant articles for the town as well, so it's a long ballot. What else? The Virginia can probably weigh in on this, but last night at the select board meeting, there was some discussion about projects in town and the discussion about what's going to happen to, or how the front steps of this building are going to get repaired. There have been some lower cost options which would change the look of the front steps, the front of the building significantly. Virginia spoke in opposition to doing that scaled down version. Ernie Landry from Heritage Commission also spoke to that effect. And no decisions have been made at this point, but the Director of Public Works is trying to come up with some options and trying to fit the project within, what he feels would be reasonable cost estimates. So But based on Virginia's and Ernie's comments last night, I'm sorry, Monday night, the select board agreed to have a specific agenda item in an upcoming meeting where it was debated, should it be a public hearing, should it not be a public hearing, whatever. It'll be an agenda item. At the very least, it'll be a public listening session for the board to gather some input from anybody who wishes to comment on it. So we're going to try to publicize it on the town has a new Facebook page. It's a Facebook page where you can't comment. It's mainly to provide information, and it was created largely to help take the place of the Carriagetown News so that we can get announcements out about meetings and what's going on, at least with town board-related things. And so it'll be on there. It should be on the town's website. It'll be wherever it can get out to. So be on the lookout for that.
I wanted to talk about that.
Oh, okay. And I think that's about, Dan's probably interested in what's happening with the PFAS water treatment systems. In the email today, the final revised draft from the consultant who's drafting the RFP for the town has come back to us after changes, second set of changes were made. This now needs to go to DES for its final blessing. As far as I'm concerned, the comments are done at this point, so as long as DES is comfortable with it, we should then be able to release the RFP, get responses within 2 to 3 weeks, pick a vendor, and hopefully get that work scheduled and underway.
Is that information public now?
Is the information, you mean the RFP itself?
Not the RFP, but what the engineering firm is recommending as far as filtration systems go?
Well, it's part of, the design is in the RFP.
But the RFP isn't out yet, though.
It's not, because
right.
the Department of Environmental Services hasn't put its final blessing on it yet.
So can you release that prior to DES giving their blessing?
I'd prefer not to, because
okay, that's fine.
Because just in case, on the off chance that DES finds something else that they want to make changes to, until it's finally blessed by them and we release it, it wouldn't be appropriate to release a preliminary RFP. So
right, that's why I was asking.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And I told you that once it did get finalized, I would make sure that you got a copy, and I will do that.
Thank you.
That's probably more than enough for me.
Is that it? Okay.
So I'd like to make a comment.
Yes, go ahead.
I was
Virginia.
disappointed that Historic District Commission wasn't consulted about this design of the front steps. I think that might have saved some pain of feeling as if the plan wasn't acceptable, which I said wasn't acceptable. We don't have jurisdiction over what happens to those steps, but we certainly have been involved in things. When the school was here, they would talk with us. When we've, Grace Daly House, all the things that
The new fire station.
The new fire station, yes, thank you. So that could have helped with some planning at the beginning, rather than him making a budget item and a design without other input. So.
Agreed. I can tell you that last night was the first time that anyone had seen what the DPW had been thinking about and working on. So you saw it the first time, you saw it when we saw it. We knew that the Department of Public Works has been assessing some upgrades that need, and some fixes that need to be done to this building. Electrical has some serious issues. We also need to make sure it's wired so that we can get a generator into this building. The heating, the HVAC system in here, there are multiple of them as it turns out, are problematic, they need to be fixed, some of them need to be replaced. Parts of the building need some insulating. There are lots of things, and the front steps are part of a kind of a big package of stuff. And so the Director of Public Works has been, granted, it was at the, the Select Board knew that he was working on it and coming up with things, but we hadn't seen anything until last night.
Well, I spoke with Ernie Landry afterwards, and, you know, perhaps because he's relatively new in the position, he didn't know or think ahead to connecting with Heritage Commission or the Historic District Commission, and I think Ernie was going to talk to him about that. The goal wasn't to have a put down on that or have hard feelings, it was just that it needed more input, and now you've got a plan for that, so that's a good thing. I have one other comment.
Go for it.
I know that Rob isn't here tonight for planning board, but I'll tell you that I think that between what HDC put in this year and what planning board put in this year, we have made a very challenging day for the voters of this town. And people don't understand and can't comprehend, especially all those planning board changes. And so I've heard both directions. The planning board knows what they're doing. I'm just going to vote yes because I can't read through all of that. And I don't understand any of this, so I'm just going to vote no on everything. And I think another time when we're making changes, we should consider the volume of pages and pages of detail that our public has to go through in order to understand the ballot that they're voting on. We know most people don't go to the deliberative session, plus those are public hearing. Very few people come and listen to all that detail. And it's too late, it's on the ballot, but I'm thinking we should be wiser some other time. If we're going to do an overhaul of some section, we should be careful how we do it and how much we expect the public to understand all at once, because it's a long ballot, fine print, and what does this all mean anyway?
Well, we
People are
wouldn't
very
have
confused.
known what they were going to put through. And
I know.
we really needed to
I know.
take care of some.
But I'd like to compliment Maddie, who wrote a nice article for the Facebook page or the town page.
Both.
Okay, saying,
You did? I didn't see
giving
it.
some support to what Historic District Commission did, saying that we went through it line by line, and we checked with the planning board. So I thought that, and town council, and so I thought that that was very well written. Maddie, thank you for doing that.
So is that, so it was like assuring the public that we worked in cooperation with the planning board?
So I put it on the Kingston, New Hampshire
Okay.
one, and then
Didn't
there's
see
a new
it.
one for Carriagetown, a new Facebook page for the Carriagetown.
Okay, good.
So,
But you're right, both planning board and town council. So it wasn't just something we
Yeah.
took up on our own.
Right, yes, good.
She did a nice
That was
job
one
with
of the items that I was going to talk about tonight.
oh, good.
If we should do that, and how should we do it?
Done.
Thank you, thank you, I love it, thank
Glenn, when
you.
that shows up on the ballot, does it show on the bottom if it's in favor or opposed, you know, by members of those
It says
committees?
recommended
It will
by
say
the
that.
planning board.
It will say that on the
It
ballot?
does, yeah.
Yeah.
My husband did the absentee, so I went through the first 5 things with him. I was like, yep. That was good. So I think it's the first 5 on there are the ones that pertain to HDC ordinances.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
I'll take your word for it,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you're right, it is a very long.
I'm sure there's not a lot of public listening to the HDC meeting, but just a reminder, you can pick up a sample ballot in the town hall, and there's also one in the town report. So people can do their homework ahead of time,
There's also
and online.
and online, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but there should be, and there's supposed to be, a copy of the full text, because on the ballot, it's only a synopsis, and it's not every word of the change. And we didn't do full text because the ballot was so long. It would have been a book had we done everything. But it's required that it be available at Town Hall, the full version of the text. So if folks are interested, they can come to Town Hall. I'm assuming it's at the town clerk's office.
In regard to this, there's a deliberation session before the town meets to vote. Done. It's done? But
That's done.
don't they explain everything, each article?
Actually, Stanley, the tradition in this town has been that at deliberative session, they don't discuss the zoning articles because those have already gone through the full public hearing process at the planning board. All the other articles are discussed and explained, but the ones for zoning are not. At the deliberative session, they've already been through the public hearing process.
Okay, I have another comment on the stairs. I looked at it. At first glance, it looks like the cement has to be pointed out, but it's more of a problem because the footings begin to sink and sink and sink and sink. So they'd have to take all these stones apart and redo the footing, which might be a very big project. And I think the select board should have the responsibility to put out a bid or maybe get some ideas from some stonemasons as to what would be the best thing to do in a situation like that.
Well, that's all in the hands of the Public Works Department right now. The Public Works Department reports to the Select Board. So Phil Coombs, our Director of Public Works, is in the process of looking at different options, and we'll be getting more of that detail in the weeks and months ahead. We do know that the last couple of times that the front steps were rebuilt, as you said, the base underneath is what was not prepared properly, and so all this weight gets put on top, and without the proper footing and protection from frost heaving and everything else, you can put anything you want up on top, but as we go through winter here, you know, it freezes and thaws, and you get the lifting, you get the separation, and all of that, and that's what's happening with these beautiful steps that are out there now, all that beautiful granite. It's starting to shift and move, and it's becoming a safety hazard, because when the blocks lift and you get these trip points, it's not a good thing. So.
Well, I was going to say the town hall is one of the most prominent buildings in our town center, so we should not just allow a quick fix. It should be done right. If you said you had these issues with the Lincoln Memorial and the granite steps in front of that, you would not put precast steps up to that, because it would be like adding a bunny nose to the front of a building. And this is a hallmark, one of the hallmarks of our town. So we really have to do this right. But I was going to say, more importantly, to ask not just for a bid, but to ask our community. We must have stonemasons in town that are residents, kind of like a barn raising, but ask for volunteers that have that expertise in town that may not even think that they could volunteer that kind of service to us, but and equipment and just the expertise alone to help beautify our town, and it would help save tax dollars, and they would have a sense of pride, and it would be great for their advertising that their business did this. I know in Exeter they have tree services, I think 4 or 5 tree services, and I don't even think they're all from Exeter. Every year go down Swayze Parkway and they trim, fertilize, and brace the trees down Swayze for free. They volunteer those services. I mean, if you're looking for a tree guy, like, hey, I'm interested in them. So I just think that would be a great community builder and help people that maybe can't volunteer for boards, but would give them a sense of purpose too. And they may not even think about doing something like that, but we could ask. So that was my 2 cents. Just do it right
So you'll be at that
I would
selectmen's
I
meeting.
mean, yes, I will be there.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, that is a great idea, and I think that the select board needs to hear that from
Yes.
other folks.
And that's the other thing I was going to say, if they need to come before us and get our input from something that's such an important, this isn't some little tiny outbuilding, this is a prominent building in our town center that really needs to be looked at, especially, we've already lost the Grace Daly House, which is a travesty already, and it's just more and more. So I think it needs to be addressed properly.
Hey, Glenn, has Selectwoman Swed's husband looked at them, Dan?
Has he looked at them?
Yeah, because he's a mason.
I didn't know that,
Yeah,
and I don't know if he's looked at them.
maybe we should ask him. He did all the monuments and
I
stuff in Washington, D.C.
I will be seeing my select board colleague tomorrow on another matter, and I will ask.
Corner her, maybe he can come over and give us an opinion.
It's worth asking, definitely. Is that it? Is that it for the select board update?
Oh, I was done.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I started it.
that's okay. I'm gonna go and roll forward here with the Heritage Commission update. There were only two things that I wanted to bring to your attention. One is the Old House and Barn Expo, which Glenn, it's the 16th and 17th of March. This is a flyer if you want to look at it. Glenn also sent out a note about volunteer opportunities, so that's definitely something to look into. And also in Sandown on March 20th, there is an Historic District Commission, Heritage Commission Forum on March 20th in Sandown. I don't really have a lot more information on that, and I'm going to be out of town, probably why I didn't pay much attention to it. But if anyone's interested in that, I can get the information, or you can ask Ernie Landry, because that comes from Heritage Commission. It sounds like some of the Heritage Commission people wanted to go to it.
And we have another meeting on the 28th at the library?
We do. We have a meeting the
6:30?
28th at 6:30 at the library with Brandy Laughlin, and also one other person is coming when she found out that Brandy's coming. So there's two of them coming, and that is for, it's kind of an informational session for the Certified Local Government Program. So if you have any questions or want to learn more about it, that's on March 28th. It is a Thursday night, as far as that's the regular Heritage Commission meeting night, okay? At 6:30, yes, yep,
At the library.
at the library, correct, yeah. All right, and that's it for me. We have no applications this month. Susan, normally if we had an application, this is when we would do it if somebody was going to come in and, want to build a garage or do, replace windows, they would come up and do, that process would be right now. So, but we don't have any right now.
I have a lot to say tonight.
Okay, go for it.
The Morses will not be putting in an application, but you're going to see a lot of work done on our house this year. There's a lot of rot along where the front of the house meets the roof, around the front door, clapboards, squirrel holes, things like that. Everything is going to be exactly as it was, same color, real wood, trim replaced exactly as it is. And the person that's doing this is both a repair and paint. And they're lead paint certified, although he said, your house has been here long enough, I just want you to know most of the lead paint's already in your soil. But he does do the kind of modification that you need. He tells me that he needs to charge 15 to 30% more for houses that he knows are loaded with lead paint. As large as mine, that raises the price because of the work they have to put in. But we checked on that, so that's happening. So you won't be getting an application from us, but you'll see it hopefully soon. if it doesn't snow for a while, that we'll get started on that, because it's a big, expensive project, but it's gonna make it look better.
Nice.
Don't send those squirrels to my house.
I don't know, they seem to love it.
Well, they are running around in circles, so, you know, it's... Oh, and, I mean, Virginia, you should probably make it clear that you're not submitting an application because you're sitting here and you don't feel you need to do it.
Right, it's all repairs, none of it is a change of materials, of design, of addition, it's because it's all repairs.
maintenance.
Maintenance, there's the word I'm looking for, maintenance.
So
Thank you.
Susan, we would, if she was going to be replacing windows or doors or anything like that, changing any architectural details, the look of the building or the property, that requires an application. But for regular routine maintenance, we don't make people come in and pay the fees and, you know. But sometimes there's a little bit of a fine line. There, you know, some people will call me and say, you know, it's just maintenance. And I'll say, well, what about the window trim? Oh, well, you know, we might have to replace it. No, you know, so if it changes the historic architectural features, we need to see it. But Virginia's not going to do that.
She's just gonna paint stuff.
Now, if you want to, we can go right on to working on the letter. The Historic District Commission is going to be sending out letters, a welcome letter or informational letter to specifically owners of property in both historic districts. So it's a different letter than the Heritage Commission sent to all of the owners of historic homes. Okay? I had sent out a very cold, business-like letter. Glenn sent very warm, loving letters, and Madeline melded those two together and came up with something. Did everyone get a chance to look at this that Madeline sent out?
I did not, but I'm going to pull it up here and look at it now.
In this version, if you'd like.
Oh, well, that would be...
Only brought one. Well, once you put, yeah.
We're going to look at the draft version, right?
Sure.
And
Yours didn't even print out on one page.
I'm thinking he's thinking it's draft 2,
oh, draft 2.
which is
And that
what
was
it-
Glenn's. That's one of Glenn's letters.
It says my name on the bottom, but Glenn wrote it for me.
Right.
So-
Yes. I liked draft 2. I thought that was a little more up to date. So what did you?
So that's what I did too. I took draft 2.
Okay.
And I pretty much took that paragraph right out of the middle.
All right.
And I took out the other stuff at the top because you were talking about a DVD that was sent out or something, and that's a different one.
Well, that's because we used that letter when we distributed the CD
Yes.
that Evie Nathan did.
But I included that in the bottom, that's visible on the, yeah, I included that, it's on the website within the letter, so they can find that later.
Okay.
Could I ask a quick question?
Sure. Put your button on.
When someone purchases a home in the historic district, is there anything that happens at closing or at whatever point that they know that this is coming, that they know they're part of it, and so they have certain expectations? Or how does that?
You can answer this one.
This has been an issue that actually we need to pay attention to. Originally, or a number of years ago, any new homeowner in Historic District 1 or 2 got a letter that said, welcome, you're part of it, and here's how you can find out about living in the Historic District, as friendly a way as we could. There's been a change in administration, and different people do different letters and all of that. And so we really need to follow up and get there and make sure that the new homeowners know that this is a special district. There are some special requirements for living here and making changes, etc. And I'm remiss, we've talked about this a couple of times and I haven't followed up on it, but we really need to do that.
But they don't know before they purchase
No, they don't.
what's ahead of them.
We've worked with, we get some good response from some of the real estate agents and others don't talk about it. So I used to get calls saying, looking to buy a house, I'd like to ask some questions because it's in Historic District 1 or 2. So some of the real estate agents do that. Some people do their diligence of where am I going to move into and pay attention to that. And then I'm sure others are totally unaware.
I totally get that. And so this could be a surprise to some people. Shouldn't
I would think
be.
it wouldn't be a surprise because when a house is listed, it's listed that it's in a historic district. So that's part of their due diligence when they're buying the house. Should be.
Should be.
Should be. That's exactly right.
Right. But in my experience, because I live in a condominium, so a lot of this is, I get it, you need approval or all of that. But so many people don't get it. And with the condominium, they're looking at paperwork, they're told what it's gonna happen and what they have to conform to. They don't get it. So I just wondered,
There really should be full disclosure by these real estate agents when they are selling properties in the district.
Doesn't always happen, though.
I know it doesn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you, Dan.
There really should be full disclosure to these people that are looking at buying a home in the
At the
district.
time of the sale, but the expectation for that, I get.
So this is just one step closer to how, somehow that we can inform the owners.
Exactly. You have to.
That's why we're working on this. What happens was we said, a year or so ago, we said, well, are the people still getting letters? And we went and asked, and they were like, we don't know anything about letters. So obviously, it's been a long time. So we didn't even have a copy of the letter that people were supposed, or we assumed were getting it. So it's just a matter of following through and doing it, getting it done. I like it. I have one change, and I don't know if it's grammatically correct or not. In the middle, it says living in a historic district. I would say living in an historic district. Is it an? Yeah. No, it's an historic district. I think it's an.
If we were here typing it in, our artificial intelligence would tell you whether or not it was correct.
It didn't come up, it didn't change it on me.
It didn't.
No.
It could be whether you're like speaking British English or American English, I don't know, but I would have written an historic. All right?
Paragraph number 2, the second sentence, it says occupying a historic property is a lot of work. Should we say something maybe requires a lot of work, just to kind of...
Occupying. It's right after an historic district.
In the
Sorry.
second paragraph, second sentence. Is a lot of work, is what it states. Maybe we should replace the word is with requires, maybe?
I like that. Or can require, or can, yeah.
So occupying a historic property is a lot of work.
Change the word from is to requires.
Can require.
Can require, yeah.
Oh, no, it requires.
Oh, well. You want to let us hear it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I think the word there actually is may.
Oh.
May require.
There you go, I like that better.
Got to listen to our educators.
Spoken as a true educator, that's right.
I would recommend striking the capital letters on congratulate and thank you. Just regular lowercase letters there. Well, now, that's simple, simple.
Maybe we should replace, about with regarding this.
I think you're on the wrong version. Are you on the one I sent out today?
Draft number 2?
No. That was Glenn's.
She emailed a letter today.
Do you see one today, an email from today?
To everyone today.
Around 3.
I am
2.
terribly sorry.
That's okay.
That's why I was getting confused.
There it is.
You better start from the beginning, there's a lot more.
Do you think, I have a comment, do you think these letters should be more brief than what you have here? Maybe confine it to 100 words, because nobody's gonna read 300 words on this 4 paragraphs. Be a quick history of whether that the historic district began in 1972 and what it comprises of as far as area is concerned. Like historic 1 from 125 down Main Street to the State Park entrance, then historic district 2. So if somebody buys a house in that area, they know it's a historic area. Then the next paragraph would say, well, before you do anything with the exterior, find out what our guidelines are, as far as windows are concerned, siding, trim, and so forth. Because people will just do it and then they will ask for forgiveness if they did something wrong. So you want to point that out within the first 50 words of the letter. And then I think that should do it. And of course, you want to state about the meetings at the second Tuesday of the month. And if you have any questions, we are consumer friendly, you know, and would be glad to answer your questions. And that's all you have to do. Because people are going to get the idea, oh my God, what did I step into this time? I just got rid of my old house somewhere else. Now I'm into something that's basically over my head. And I'm not really oriented to this situation.
You know, Stanley, you didn't have your mic on all that time. I wrote at the top, is this too long? I don't think it's overwhelming that would scare anybody off. Like I've been over my head. I don't think there's that tone at all. But I do think it's quite long. And I read it several times and can't figure out what I want to leave out.
Yeah.
That's my problem. So, but I do think it should all be on, I hope it would maybe reduce the font a little or whatever, because we do want a letterhead there. We don't have to have our letterhead that I use for certificate,
Correspondence. I have
correspondence.
some, yeah.
It's pretty big.
It is pretty big, yeah.
So that
Bigger
would
than
drive this onto the back side. Then I began to think, maybe if it's broken up with a nice letterhead and the greeting and the first two paragraphs, and then the other two on the back may be broken up. So I do agree, it's a little long. I like the tone of it, though. So I'm not sure.
I think a
Take
front,
out.
I think a front and back page, I think a front and back is enough. If it was more than one page, more than one piece of paper, people would be
Okay.
like, I don't have time to read it, you know?
Yeah, and I was thinking Mormon Fuzzy, and this is our chance. This is our one chance to get something out there. A lot of people, even a short paragraph, they're just gonna heave. But if we have a chance to get in their door, here's our chance. So, but you can do with what you want.
I like how you invited them to the monthly meetings if they have any questions. If you have any questions or are looking for some ideas for your old home. Could we write, if you have any questions or are looking for some ideas for your old home, the Historic District Commission welcomes property owners for consult, I don't know, something like that, instead of just stop in and talk with us, or like that we do sort of, not really consulting, but informational sessions, you know? I don't know how to word it so it sounds like informational sessions.
Yeah, I know, that's why I was, that's why I came in with stop in and talk with us.
Yeah.
Just so, I think we're perceived as this like stingy board, and I think it needs to be more community friendly, like, you people, the historic district, this is your board, like, come in and have a say, and come, we're your neighbors, come on in.
Yeah.
So try to get that
Yeah, and
conveyed in there.
Yeah, and that is the way it's coming across, so.
Good.
Do you think maybe we ought to put something in there stating that a lot of information on your home could be also found at the historic library? Kind of push their agenda a little bit too.
I mean, I was literally taking everything
I
and
mean,
trying to
because
keep it to
they-
one page.
They have I know, but
Yeah.
they have a wealth of information over there.
Yes.
And if someone wants to fix their home up like it was 150 years ago, there may be photos or whatever over there that.
So how would we stick that in the same thing, like up here at where we're sending them to the website? Or no, maybe in that last paragraph, also consider
Stopping into the museum. Or you can say that, you know, the Kingston Museum has a wealth of information on, I don't know. As you can see, I'm not good at this.
on your property
an
card. Is it
accountant.
on their property? Is it their property card or more, what is actually over there?
Well, the property card's here, but they
Yeah.
just have a lot of photographs from town from years
wait,
past.
And would that be the Heritage Commission?
No, that's the Kingston Historical Museum at the old Nichols
At the old library,
building.
right.
It's not called the library, it's the Nichols building, but it's the Kingston Historical Museum. And they don't have the property cards, because as Dan said, those are here. But they have a wealth of archival material on
Right.
old homes and all things related to the history of this town.
It's a good way to promote them a little bit too.
Yeah,
as
that's
far
what
as
I was thinking, yes. Okay. I think we can, if we can go to the back page and stick that in there
Let's do a front and back page.
and just scoop it out, yep, and put the good heading, put the nice heading on top, the letterhead.
I think you can groom the last paragraph a little. If you have any questions or are looking for some information about your old home, the Historic District Commission welcomes your input and questions. Our meetings take place on the second Tuesday of each month at the Town Hall. All are welcome, I like that, and you'll get to meet some of your fellow neighbors. I'm not sure we're going to put in the Historic Museum, I'm not sure. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've taken out about 15 words and put in 7. That's half, but it's a little bit. With the same idea.
Same gist.
You could say that if you feel free to contact the Historic Commission or the town, I always want to say the Nichols Library, but their organization over there.
Can we say the Heritage Commission located at the Kingston?
No, it's
No.
not the Heritage.
Right.
It's not the Heritage Commission, it's the historical.
It's the Historical Museum Committee,
Oh, okay, okay.
at, which operates out of the Kingston Historical Museum.
Too many historics.
Too many words.
So you took out 15 words and we added about 30.
That's all right, I think that's good. So the Kingston Historical Committee also has a vast resource available at their location in the Kingston,
At Nichols.
no,
Building.
no, not Nichols Building. No, in the Kingston Historical Museum. Actually, it isn't.
It really isn't.
It's not.
We affectionately call it that because that's what we called it for all of its years since it was built in 1890-something, 95.
But you could say located in the historic Nichols Library or the historic
Don't
Nichols
say
building.
library.
Historic Nichols Building, maybe.
You could.
Okay.
It really is better just to call it the Kingston Historical
We have to
Museum.
get used to this, okay.
There you go.
You need to change the nomenclature and get people used to calling it that. Because there is a huge amount of confusion between Historic District Commission, Heritage Commission, the Kingston Historical Society,
Yes.
the Historical Society, and the Kingston Historical Museum Committee.
Yeah.
All different, and people get them all.
Oh, yeah, we get called the Historical Commission all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. What if you wrote, there is also a vast
Yes.
resource at the Kingston Historic Museum.
I'm taking your copy, Virginia, when we're done.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to lose words, in my opinion, the last sentence, you are part of one of the most beautiful historic districts in New Hampshire, something to be very proud of. I mean, they bought here because they are proud and they know they're in a historic district, so I mean.
Let them know.
Yeah, I know.
Should be very proud.
But if we're trying to keep it to one side, you know, maybe.
Going to 2, we got room.
That ain't happening.
With the-
Preferably, it should be one page, but with
Page-
everything that's
page
happening
3.
here, it's
It's a flip over.
I think we need a break between paragraphs, too.
you could insert pictures or graphics of some kind to break it up a little bit.
Oh. Glenn? That would be eye-catching. Yeah.
Well, plus it would break it up when you have a long piece like that, if you're faced with just a wall of text.
Yeah.
If there's a way to break it up a bit, it might be easier for people to consume.
Who's got pen and ink?
Maybe Sarah Oppenheimer would do a couple of sketches for us. She's wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you want to ask her?
Sure.
And we
Stanley
really-
is busy writing. He's a good writer.
And we really don't have an email address as an organization here, do we, for people that
Yeah, we do.
the HDC does?
It comes to me, hdc@kingstonnewhampshire.org.
So that could be
Then we
under
should put
your
that
name.
in there, if
Yeah, that
people
could
have
be under her
questions.
name.
Oh, it will be, okay.
Okay, that, it isn't, but it could be under her name here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it should be
just if
actually.
someone's got a question, they can shoot you a quick email.
Or her phone number.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
Should give him my phone number.
It's actually on the website anyway, my cell is, so I don't care. I get some really interesting phone calls, so I don't complain. When your neighbor down the street, the one that bought next to All American,
Yes.
she called, and I answered the phone, and I was like, "Are you really calling from Hawaii?" She was like, "Yeah, I really am." It was so funny. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's pretty funny.
And she moved from Hawaii and was calling to find out about things she'd had to do for her house. So
She was, yes, she was calling, she was looking at the house and knew it was in the historic district and wanted to know. I've had a number of calls where that people will say, I'm looking at this property, it's in the historic district. What is the historic district commission? What do you require? How bad is it gonna be? You know, basically, they do ask how bad it's gonna be.
Yeah, what am I getting myself into?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Like you said, they think we're bored of dragons.
Right,
Yeah. So it is, I've had some really cool conversations with people. I love it. So I'm all right with, do you want to be in charge of just making these tweaks?
sure.
And
yeah,
then-
if you'll give me your copy. 'cause
Yep. I'll help you with the scribbles.
You're good. Yes.
Scribbles on top of
We work
scribbles.
good together.
Yep.
And then send out another version?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And I'll ask
Sarah
Sarah.
Oppenheimer?
if
All right.
she, once we have it, the wording like that, and I show her what space there would be, we should do that. Make it a
That would be
little more
nice.
interesting.
Just little pen and ink stuff, doesn't it?
Right, a good one at the Nichols
Be really cute.
Library.
Yeah? Oh, yeah, nice.
Sorry, Glenn, I left my phone off, my speaker off for that one, on purpose.
All right, so do we need to discuss this anymore, or are you just gonna work on this and,
Stanley, do you have some ideas that we could,
I have some very good ideas.
okay.
okay,
I just sort of outlined.
hold on.
Stanley, put your button on.
Okay, so Maddie's going to take some of the ideas we tossed around, go ahead and share yours, but also give it to Maddie, we'll blend them together, and then we'll send them out again.
Well, basically, you want to identify the extent of the historic district, what territory it covers, and then you want to tell them when the Historic District Commission went into effect, and that was 1972. That's in the letter. Then the
Yeah.
next part is exterior part of the home or building are the concern of the HDC. You have to make that very clear, because some people go ahead and do something that may not meet the approval of this commission. If in the dark, you want to tell the people what to do, the HDC welcomes your plans and comments. Then the third part is how to contact the HDC, phone number, postings in the town hall and PO. And it's the second Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. We are community friendly and willing to help new neighbors. And
I like
that's it.
that, yeah, I like that, willing to help new neighbors, that's nice.
New residents.
New- Right, yeah. Yeah, that's true. And old
And
ones.
that way people will be glad to live in this town.
Stanley, hand it over. Hand it over, and
I try to print it so.
I'm sure, listen, if we can read my scribble, we can read your scribble, and then we'll meld them all together and send out another copy.
Aaron always prints, so I try to print like him.
Okay.
One other question, I was trying to make sure we got the sheds in there. That
saw
was part of that? So, if you thought of anything else where I was saying, certificates of approval are required from the Historic District Commission for any work done on the exteriors of existing buildings or any new structures located or to be located in our historic districts, i.e., new homes, renovations, barns, sheds, outbuildings, et cetera. If you guys thought of something else, I was just trying to throw some stuff out there. If there was something take out or put in, if you had something to add.
Oh, I think that's fine.
You've got the et cetera in there, so.
Et cetera,
So you're covered.
et cetera. Okay.
KingstonNH.org.
It's not the town of Kingston? Darn it.
I don't think, well,
No, it is KingstonNH.org.
Okay.
So I go on it all the time, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna check on that.
And I went on it.
That's why
From
we're,
going on it to writing it, I
why we're a
blew it.
committee.
Thank you.
yeah, I like it, okay. Yeah. All right, so if Madeline's going to go ahead and do that, we have, we're going to wrap that up for now, and we have no members of the public to comment. Do we have any other things that the board needs to talk about tonight? No? Virginia, do you have anything else, or are we all set? Okay,
No, I'm all set, I'm
all
sorry.
right. Do you want to someone want to make a motion to end the meeting, or shall I just declare it?
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:02.
Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah, they do.
Seconded by Madeline. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion is made and accepted. Oh, I'm at 8:01, actually.